Hey there, cinephiles. We're here for another episode of the Discussion, where we're going to talk about all things Disney, obscure or popular. Today, though, I thought I'd make the video a little simple and just kind of talk about some of the upcoming movies. Captain Marvel. I am very excited for Captain Marvel. Brie Larson, who I'm a fan of. Excited to see Marvel finally pull off a female-led superhero movie, and it takes place in the 90s. It's got Sam Jackson de-aged. It brings back Coulson, Agent Coulson. I'd love to see all those characters back together again. So I'm definitely excited for that movie. The first trailer was really good. Had her crashing through Blockbuster as a good sign of what was going to come for Blockbuster. You know, because she crashed through it, and it crashed. Get it? Dumbo. Tim Burton's directing this, and you know, it's got a pretty, I think, significant cast from the beginning. Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito, Colin Farrell. That's a pretty good cast that you got going on there. So what's everyone's problem with the movie? I guess just that it's another live-action recreation of one of their animated properties. Since Dumbo was an original creation from the Disney company, who knows? This is, I guess, technically can use the term remake as to how much they're remaking from the original movie. I don't know. So far, of the three live-action Disney classic reboots that we're getting this year, this one looks the most interesting. It seems like they're doing the most different stuff with it. Tim Burton usually has a good eye for cinematography and making a movie look good, even if it turns out bad. And I liked Alice in Wonderland, so I don't see Dumbo being that bad of a movie. I'm actually pretty excited for it. Penguins, they're bringing back the Disney nature movies, even though last year they canceled the one that was supposed to come out. I don't remember which one it was. There's been a couple Disney nature movies released outside of America, and they used to release one of these every year for Earth Day, and they do pretty well for, you know, being pretty not expensive at all. They already have all the footage on hand. They don't really record new footage. It's all taken from that Planet Earth series. And they usually just got to pay someone to do the narration. So this time around, it's, I believe, I could look it up quick, but I think it's Dane DeHaan doing it. And I see the Penguins one doing well because, you know, March of the Penguins was one of the most popular movies, documentaries of all time. So I could see this Penguins documentary doing pretty well because people I feel like still like Penguins. Avengers Endgame. I mean, is there any possibility that this is not going to be one of the biggest movies of 2019, if not the biggest movie of 2019? It's probably going to make well over $2 billion, I almost feel like. It's gonna be one of the biggest movies of all time. I'm excited to see what they do with it, you know, see what characters end up living. They really haven't told us much about the movie, and that's really strange. Usually, that happens by now. We start to hear some tidbits, we start to see some more footage, but we really haven't gotten much. It's just been Tony Stark sitting in a spaceship and Captain America trying to figure out what to do. I mean, we've gotten some ideas of what characters who weren't in the first film showing up in this one, but other than that, we've got nothing right now, and that's pretty awesome. And on a side note, Spider-Man Far From Home is also coming out this year. It's technically not made by Disney, but it's being distributed in some countries by Disney with help from Sony Pictures, so that's coming out too. Of course I'm excited. I mean, it's Spider-Man. They're finally taking that out of New York. They're going to be in Europe. I get that people are annoyed that it spoiled the fact that Spider-Man's not really dead, but did you really think that was gonna happen? Come on. Like, they're not gonna kill off one of their youngest and most popular characters right away. Especially when, if you would have read the original press release. They already said that they were gonna make a bunch of Spider-Man movies. They're not gonna just do the one and then, kill him off. And, like, Sony Pictures wants to make money. Are you kidding me? Aladdin 2019. This one honestly looks lame. This kind of is going the same route as something like Beauty and the Beast or Cinderella, where, yeah, they're making changes, and really the movie just looks overblown with the CG sets. And I know that's a common complaint about computer graphics and movies taking over practical effects, but it's just odd to the eye to watch some of these shot setups. You think of the scene where Aladdin goes and gets the lamp in the original animated movie. It's a great scene. It's very beautifully animated with the different kind of colors they use and the way they produce the lighting. And if you watch in the trailer for Aladdin, it just looks cluttered. That was the problem with Beauty and the Beast for me. Everything just seems too cluttered, like they're trying to make it too real. And it makes everything distracting, and you can't really read the emotions off of the faces of some of these characters as well as you can in an animated movie. I'm kind of having that feeling that Iago, they'll make him look like a very real bird, and with that it's going to be very emotionless, kind of like Cogsworth or Lumiere in Beauty and the Beast, the live action one, or all the characters in Jungle Book, honestly. I'm sorry, but this whole idea of making CG characters and trying to make emotions off of their faces, it doesn't always turn out that well as it does in the 2D animated film. I think the fact that Guy Ritchie's directing will make it a little interesting. He is stylistically particular. Like, when you see a Guy Ritchie movie, you know it's directed by him. And Disney doesn't usually take chances like that. The times that they have, they don't pan out. Edgar Wright, Phil Lord, and Chris Miller, they ended up leaving their productions. I think the farthest they've gone is James Gunn, honestly, with the style. Plus, you got Will Smith, which I thought was a perfect choice for Genie because, you know, instead of trying to get another comedian improving his way to top Robin Williams or be something similar, they instead just got an actor who is just as charismatic as Robin Williams, but in a different way. And I think that was a good choice. Toy Story 4, I feel bad, but I could really care less about this movie. I was so excited for Toy Story 3 to come out, and when it came out, it exceeded all my expectations. It was a movie that, at the time, it felt like I had been waiting years for. It had been 11 years since Toy Story 2. I barely remembered Toy Story 2 coming out, and then when the third one came out, it's like I had to see it opening day. It was one of the best movies of 2010. It doesn't even feel like that long ago, but it has been 9 years. It's been almost as long as the time between the second one and the third one, which is really weird, because it doesn't, just because of my age anyway, I guess it doesn't feel as long as it did originally. It's Pixar. I highly doubt they're gonna fail, and even if their sequels are sometimes not as good as the originals, I mean, lately they've been proving that wrong. I mean, Finding Dory was pretty good, Incredibles 2 was pretty good, and their Toy Story films have always been superb, so I don't see them misstepping here. The Lion King, a shot-for-shot remake of the original animated movie done with computer animation. That's all this is. What is the point? This is the hardest sell for me, because that trailer was nothing but a recreation of Circle of Life, and it's a weird conundrum, because if you want to make this movie different from the animated movie, how are you gonna make it different unless, you know, you gotta make some major story changes, or the way you pace the movie, or the way scenes are introduced. But you can't not open it with Circle of Life, can you? That's one of the best openings of all time. So now they're stuck in this position of, well, we have to do Circle of Life, just like Jungle Book, even though all those movies made billions of dollars. Everybody will forget about them as soon as they're gone and not talk about them. Those movies are never talked about. I never see Beauty and the Beast talked about, despite the fact that everybody saw it. That movie made $1.2 billion, I think, and nobody talks about it. Well, they do have one I would call original movie this year, Artemis Fowl. It is based on a book. I don't know anything about the book at all. But I watched that trailer, and that trailer was like, you get people interested in a movie that they may not know anything about. So I'm glad that they're attempting to do something that doesn't really have an immediate fan base. It's only based on the book series that came out a couple years ago. I could see this movie being their big box office bomb of the year, just because that seems to be the trend. A Wrinkle in Time didn't do well. I know it didn't get good reviews, but The Nutcracker also didn't do too well. And yeah, these are all movies that didn't have good reviews, but it's like that. These are these original movies that are coming out that Disney trying to do, and nobody sees them. So Frozen 2. I don't really know what to expect out of this movie either. I love the first Frozen movie. I think it's one of the best that Disney has done in the last 10 years and probably one of the best movies they've ever done. Now they're doing a sequel that, it's not going to be a direct-to-video sequel. This is going to be a full-budget, 4-theaters movie. Frozen Fever, and I've seen Olaf's Frozen Adventure, both of which were pretty underwhelming, and I don't know, can these characters do well past the story that they had? I mean, it's Disney, and Disney's been doing pretty well, so I highly doubt they don't have something great planned, but it's kind of weird that we haven't gotten any material for that movie yet. No trailers, no posters even. We haven't even had a look at like their production yet, so we'll see what happens. Star Wars have been released every single December since Disney has bought the property and released The Force Awakens in 2015. The story that I've been really invested in, I've liked the first 2 movies they did. I really liked Force Awakens. I like Last Jedi a lot too. Probably not as much as Force Awakens, but it's a very close tie there. And I am really excited for Episode 9. That's still not titled, which is weird, but I'm excited to see what they're going to do with the Rey and Kylo Ren dynamic. I'm excited to see what they're going to do with John Boyega's character, Finn. I'm excited to see if they're going to kill Poe or not. I think they should do it. And I'm interested to see how they bring Mark Hamill into it, or Carrie Fisher now that she's passed away. The people who really liked Rian Johnson's Last Jedi, the people who really liked it, kind of, in a way, constantly shitting on Force Awakens, which I do not think they're gonna like this J.J. Abrams-led Episode 9. And on the flip side of that, I don't think the people who hated Last Jedi probably aren't gonna like this one. Will they not see it? Well, they're gonna see it. I mean, give me a break. People hated Phantom Menace, and yet both of the sequels after that made tons of money still. And so Star Wars fans go no matter what, no matter how much dirt they talk. That's how they've always been. Meantime, I think I'll like it because I like J.J. Abrams. I liked Force Awakens. I expect that this is going to be a solid end to the trilogy, but it's probably going to go the Return of the Jedi route, where people in the long run will probably look back at it and be like, yeah, that one wasn't that good, was it? Disney fans, so I'm probably going to be hitting up every one of those. Even Penguins. I'm okay with a documentary about penguins. Bring it on.